HBO Max, Apple TV, and Disney Plus now up and running, along with Prime, Hulu, and Netflix, there's a ton of streaming services to choose from right now. If you're specifically looking for horror movies, I've found that Prime has the best selection, definitely a much better selection than Netflix, for example. The only issue with Prime's diverse horror options is actually finding one. The restrictions for studios and filmmakers to get their movie on Prime compared to other services are much lower. While something like Netflix has more of a lake of horror movies to choose from, Prime has an absolute ocean. For every great horror movie on Prime, there are 10 more super low budget ones that you have to filter through, with titles like Killer Mermaid or Shark Hunter. I see these insane titles all the time when I'm browsing. Because of this, I wanted to start a new series on my channel where I watch them, where I review some of the absolute weirdest movies Amazon Prime has to offer. And trust me, there are a lot. I'm starting today with my discussion of the film Tsunambee. I'll say that again in case you thought I may have misspoke. I will be reviewing the film Tsunambee. I knew I had to start with this movie because that is undoubtedly one of the best movie titles I have ever heard, or quite frankly will ever hear. Fuck a Sharknado, I needed to know exactly what a tsunami of bees would look like. Was I disappointed? Well, let's find out. Quick disclaimer, I'm going to spoil most of the stupid/funny moments in my discussion right now, so if Tsunambee was high on your watch list and you want to avoid ruining your first viewing, skip to this time for a spoiler-free review. The movie starts in pretty much the exact opposite way you'd expect. We open on a woman carrying a big wooden cross in long, drawn-out, unironic slow motion, while a choir dramatically sings in the background. This mystery woman eventually goes to plant her cross in the ground while bees buzz around her head, and a very lengthy biblical quote appears on the screen. It was quite the dramatic and serious opening given the movie's title. I would have thought maybe I clicked on the wrong movie if not for right after this, where a group of scientists are chased and killed by terrible CGI bees in a jungle before the title Tsunambee flashes on the screen. After this, we meet our hero JB, who wakes up and enters his living room to see that the news is reporting that the world is ending. News footage shows shots of skyscrapers on fire and bad CGI helicopters exploding. The newscaster literally says the exact line, "It is reminiscent of 9/11 happening all over the world." Due to the alarming news of an apparent worldwide mega 9/11, JB and his male and female roommate decide to get out of the city and head east. The group of three meets up with a group of two and a cop. After a bit of small talk and a little bit of a Mexican standoff, a character turns, points, and says, "Oh no, a storm cloud." To which the cop looks and replies, "No, it's worse." We look and see that approaching in the sky is a giant black storm cloud full of those awful looking CGI bees. We're 14 minutes in, but it is finally happening. We may not have an explanation why there are bees, or where they came from, or how they're related to this apocalypse, or how they're in a storm cloud, but fuck it. Here is the moment we were all waiting for. The bees descend and start to chase them around the field as our characters flee. What I love about these bees is at certain points we see through what I'll call bee POV. This bee POV is the funniest shit I've ever seen because it is just a bright yellow honeycomb filter slapped on the camera. What I also love about these bees is, depending on the shot, they are either the regular size we're used to seeing in real life, or the bees are the size of mailboxes. There is no consistency. However, there is something I do not love about these bees. It is at this point I have to break the news to you. Every time we see the bees, they're just in a big swarm. They're in a storm cloud. At no point is there an actual tidal wave of bees, which was extremely disappointing to me, to say the least. With how dumb this movie is, I have no idea why there couldn't have been a big surfing competition that goes wrong, or even a scene in a swimming pool. I don't care how bad it would have looked. The bees already look like absolute shit. I wanted to see the goddamn tsunami of bees that I was promised. Anyways, back to the story. The group of 6 have multiple bee encounters and they try to escape. One of the random side characters gets eaten by a bee. JB's male roommate dies. The remaining group hides under a bridge to talk things out. behind their back, the roommate comes back to life as a zombie. Or I guess I should say a zombie. After their initial surprise, they kill the zombie roommate. The group walks on, they find a house with a dad and his daughter hiding inside it, and they rest in this house for 20 minutes of the movie's runtime. It is during this calmer period that the film Tsunambee and the characters within it take the time to have a lengthy discussion on religion. They do this throughout the entire movie, as you could probably have guessed from the opening scene with the cross, but it is during this downtime they absolutely beat you over the head with characters constantly debating God, faith, prayer, and so on. I truly cannot understate how often this movie talks about Christianity. You may not have ever guessed it, but the film titled Tsunambee is actually a Sunday sermon in disguise. No matter what you do or don't believe in, the fact that this movie takes itself that seriously is insane. A movie with CGI bees and zombie honeybee human hybrids is here to sell you on the idea of religion for honestly like a third of the movie at least. Anyway, after Sunday school concludes, the group grabs a handful of guns and they prepare to kill all the evil bees approaching the house. They down a couple of them, but ultimately fail at this task. The dad dies, the other random guy dies, our main character JB is even killed, not by the bees, but by the little girl shooting him. So now it is just the little girl, the cop, and the female roommate remaining. Bees are swarming, the three all take a huddle and decide their only option now is to begin to pray. So the three bow their heads to pray, and as it would turn out, that actually works. They manage to pray the bees away. As the bees fly away, the group smiles and leaves the house. They walk into the sunset in, you guessed it, dramatic slow motion, as soft music plays and we hear a lengthy Bible quote narrated to us. But wait, that's not the end, because there is a twist here. We look back and the female roommate has stopped slow motion walking. She reveals she was actually the queen bee disguised as a human this entire time. She summons all the bees back with her magic, and her face turns into a god-awful CGI bee monster as she screams into camera. And since this movie couldn't help itself, after the credits roll for a bit, we actually get a post-credit scene where we meet up again with the girl on the cliff with the cross. She places it into the ground, we see bees swarming in the sky, and I shit you not, she summons blue glowy energy from her hands through the power of Christianity and fires a glowing ball of energy into the sky at the bees. Rock music kicks in, and that is our movie, Tsunambee. Overall, this movie is batshit insane, 100% terrible, and absolutely hilarious, as you probably expected. Every performance looks like it was the first take, and every shot looks like they just turned the camera on, didn't change a thing, and just started shooting. It is very, very similar to So Bad It's Good movies like Birdemic, especially considering the weirdly serious themes that are just shoved in there, and the terrible looking flying monsters. Even if you listen to me describe the details of it, I still recommend you check this one out. Some aspects I didn't even get into, or they were just too insane to truly put into words. You'll have to just see them for yourself. That concludes my Tsunambee review. If you like this series idea and want to see more, please subscribe. I post new videos every Friday, and I will be making more of these weird Prime reviews. I'm still deciding, so leave a comment below letting me know which movie you want me to review next. House Shark, Velocipaster, Killer Sofa, or Clowntergeist. Anyway, that's the video. I'll be you in the next one.